Chris Larson from CrossbowExpert.com. We've got the all-new Sub-1 from Mission Crossbows. I'm here with Gregg Ritz, and we're about ready to take a few shots at 100 yards with this crossbow, Greg. We've shot it before.
I know.
Shot well, but there's a lot of things that we got to talk about here before we shoot at this thing at 100 yards. Yeah. It is capable of shooting those 1-inch groups at 100 yards, but there's some things that people need to know about that.
Absolutely.
It's still, you know, I think a lot of people, especially people that have never shot a crossbow before, they think that this thing is automatic and that it's super easy, but there's still a lot of skill that goes into shooting a crossbow, especially at 100 yards. And I'm not as skilled as this guy is, but I'm going to do my best. But give us some tips on shooting long distances. And the other thing we want to talk about too is that we're not advocating shooting game at 100 yards, but we're talking about is what kind of accuracy we can get out of a nice crossbow, and just how to. A lot of people just like having fun in the range, shooting these long distances and putting themselves at their equipment
challenging themselves. Absolutely. Well, before we go over this, why don't we make this bow safe?
Sure.
Okay, and we can kind of go over the decocking feature.
This is a big thing right here.
I know. So obviously, guys, from a safety standpoint, all crossbows here, axle to axle, down to your latch, this is the danger zone. Don't put your thumb up anywhere near that. Don't put your hands in that cocked area. And when you get out of a tree stand or a ground blind, make sure you either decock your bow by shooting it off, or with the new Sub-1, you have the ability to decock it with your rope cocker without pulling the trigger or anything. Absolute complete safety. So we're gonna put the rope cocker back on, just like we did when we cocked the bow. Now, show everybody here, on the left side of the fire control mechanism, there's a little black button right there. We're gonna press that in. The safety cannot come off, okay? It is no arrows in there, so the anti-dry fire is still engaged. At this point, after you do that, you just pull back on your rope cocker for about a ½ inch, and let it down.
It's decocked.
It's decocked. Now, let's talk long range. The number one thing for shooting long range, rifle, bow, or anything, is consistency of form, right? Here, we're gonna shoot with a bipod on the front. Probably not the best scenario, but convenient for us today. If you can have sandbags support it in the rear like the front, okay? And then guys, right here, you'll see there's an accessory level that you can purchase for the bow, keeping that bow level like a vertical bow. Okay,
you don't want torque.
You don't want torque, so leveling that will help you in your left to right groups. So I cannot pull the trigger for you, okay? I can go through all the other things, but as we talked about though, number your arrows, make sure you shoot one arrow, qualify everything. So at this point, let's take her for a test drive.
Let's take a few shots here and see what this trigger man can do.
Oh, I've got faith in you now. I've got faith in you. You know, if you have any bit of a background in shooting a gun, any crossbow, it's pretty easy to get to comfortable with operating.
All right.
Okay.
Get the bipod set up. We've got our target set up at 100 yards. And what we're going to do is we want to make this, I think we're going to make this no edits. We talked about doing this and making the cut, but I want to make sure that people realize that we are not going to cheat here, but it's hard to see where the target hits at 100 yards through the lens of the camera. So we're going to do this no edits, so that way you guys can see.
Walk it down.
We're not cheating. We're going to walk the camera down.
Yeah, let's walk it down. I think that center target is open, arrows there.
All right.
Now, just like with a gun, you know, pull into your shoulder, control the bow, you know, make sure it's level, work on your breathing a little bit, and just be smooth on that trigger. Look pretty good.
All right, let's go down and take a look at where it's at. Yeah, it's not really sighted in for me. What we're going to try to do is shoot a group. See where our group ends up. We're going to I'm gonna walk this camera down.
So, you know, Chris, you know, you and I have been talking about where the evolution of the sport has gone since the 70s, right? And you think the accuracy and the speed and the performance, and now the quality of the arrows is improving. And when Matt and the team set out to build this bow, they wanted all the qualities of this bow to be superior in the marketplace so the user has a great experience. And what they found is 350 feet per second in that window, right, is optimal for long range accuracy, broadhead performance, and still gives you the ability to have a high let off bow so it's easy to cock. And in this case with the Sub-1, it's easy to decock. And there's a lot of bows out there like the MXB 400 from Mission, right, that'll shoot 400 feet per second, but they're a lot more finicky, right? And people say, how come you didn't build a bow that's a little faster on the Sub-1? And the reason is we didn't want to give up the accuracy or the performance or the usability of the bow. So we got arrow number 1 right here. And as Chris was saying, all this is a naming point, right? We didn't sight this bow in, so that becomes number 1. Earlier, we were sighting in the bow here, and our ace trigger man did put a couple arrows there within 1 inch. So let's.
I don't perform well under pressure though. As soon as we rolled, they changed.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Well, let's go shoot again.
One of the things that Greg brought up there, though, is really important. People call us all the time and they ask us, what is the best crossbow? And that's a very tough question because everybody has different needs and things that they may like better than the other.
Yep.
So for the guy who really thinks that they need to shoot 400 feet per second, maybe this isn't the bow for them.
That's right.
You know, maybe they need something else. But for somebody who is looking for a crossbow that's easy to cock and incredibly accurate, they built this crossbow to be accurate. And that's what it's for. So
yep.
If you're looking for accuracy, if you're looking for easy to cock, easy to decock, then this may be the crossbow for you. Because there is no crossbow out there that does everything. You know? So you just have to
it's a trade-off, right?
Yep.
If you're going to get one quality, you give up something else. Now, if you look at all the vertical bows in the marketplace, if they shot a 400 grain arrow, there's no bow out there that's shooting 350 feet per second. Right? So right now, this exceeds that. But for some people who want speed,
yep.
right? And you know, maybe they're going to go shoot a Cape Buffalo or do a giant big game and want more penetration, right? Absolutely. You have the MXB 400 and you have other 400 foot per second bows out there. But I'd say most guys, you know, they do want to whitetail hunt with these, and sound is important, right? They don't want a lot of noise and vibration. What did you think when you shot the bow?
It's very smooth, it's very quiet.
It is quiet.
And that's something, once you get into the higher speed crossbows, how you get energy or how you get sound in crossbows is from energy.
Yeah.
So the more energy, the more sound. And if you get up there in that 400 and 400 plus feet per second,
yeah.
you need energy to create that. And when you do that, you create sound.
So think about this again, equating the crossbow to the gun world, right? If I shoot a 30-06, mm-hmm. it has a certain, you know, decibel rating, certain amount of noise. I shoot a 300 Win Mag. It's faster than a 30-06. Bigger bang.
More
I shoot a 338 Lapua,
mm-hmm.
right? I better have earmuffs on, right?
Yep.
And it's the same thing, because that violence and that explosion, that creates noise and vibration mm-hmm. in the firearm world and in the crossbow world. And now all the viewers are going to sit here and watch, see how good a trigger man you. Don't make me sit on this bench now.
Shooting 100 yards, if you've never done it, is pretty difficult. And Greg has a really nice scope on this crossbow. He's got it set up with the HHA, and I mean, just holding that bow steady at 100 yards, even with the bipod on the front, I don't think people really understand what goes into that. And I mean, if you're hunting game and you're off by a couple inches, especially larger game, you're still going to be in pretty good shape. But when you're shooting spot targets out here, you see everything that you
Yeah.
miss, and it's really easy to tell who's off and who's on. But it's difficult to shoot this, and this is why when we talk about shooting game at 100 yards, it's just tough. And I mean, you line this thing up at 60 yards and you can shoot dots with it. Yeah. But
well, and it's anything, right? Even if the distance is 40 or 50 yards, you know, I recommend everybody figure out how you are going to support or rest your bow. Whether that's a monopod in a tree stand, right? Whether that's a tree pod in a tree stand or a bipod and a ground blind, right? Don't try to offhand these bows.
Yep.
Even at 20 yards, I always find a support somehow.
Yep,
right?
Definitely helps to have that front end support. And then on the back end, learning how to breathe and make sure you're not inhaling when you're pulling that trigger, and just knowing what to do and where you put that. The other thing we talk about a lot with compound bow archery is our anchor point and where we're putting our hands on our face. And then people go and they pick up these crossbows and they don't think about those things. So make sure when you're going to shoot these crossbows that you're holding the crossbow in the same place every time. You're looking at things the same way. And the way you shoot it right now in October or September when it's 50, 60 degrees out, and then you're going to go out in January for a late season hunt and you're wearing a big coat, it's going to feel different. So make sure that you're sighting in that at that time too, just to make up for the difference in what you're wearing.
Absolutely. Well, still number 9 arrow.
Still number 9 arrow. So what he's saying is, if it's off, it's my fault.
Oh.
See what we can do.
Yeah, see what we can do. Yeah, bow's level, center dot, and just squeeze slow when you feel solid. That flew nice.
It flew nice. It's at the same clock direction, but I am much closer to the bullseye than I was in the first shot.
Oh, you're getting used to the bow now.
We'll see what happens here, but I think I'm going to be close to the bull, which is really not where we want to be, but like I said, there's a lot of human element in this thing, and when we talk about that sub 1 inch group, like Greg was saying, you know, that crossbow's locked down. It doesn't have the human element in it. But I think it's important for everybody to see what this looks like when a normal person shoots it. And
that's right.
To understand that even though when we built this crossbow, not we, but Mission, when they built this crossbow, they set out to make the most accurate crossbow ever. It still comes down to the person shooting it.
Well, if we were betting $1 on who was going to shoot closest to the bullseye, I think you would have won the $1 from me.
Well, let's see what the third shot was. Maybe that's what we'll hope for.
But isn't 100 yards fun?
100 yards is a lot of fun.
It's fun.
When we shoot 100-yard shots back on our home range, what we like to do is inflate a balloon.
Yeah.
Now you put that balloon out there, and if you're hitting the balloon at 100 yards, it's a good shot. So right there, I'm real close to the bull.
I mean, it's, you know, 3-4 inch group. You know, we have a little bit of wind drift, but a lot of times when you see movement up and down like this, it comes down to how well you're controlling the recoil of the bow and how much you're getting into the bow. On this third shot, I want to show you a little trick I have on how to control the back end of the bow without a sandbag. And I think we might be able to tighten this up a little bit because I think that stock in the rear is tipping a little bit. And it doesn't take much to do that. So let's go back, let's shoot the third group.
If you haven't seen HuntMasters, Greg is a very, very accomplished hunter and a very, very accomplished shooter.
Well,
I'm going to learn some stuff from him today.
Well, we're having fun. I mean, Chris is a crossbow expert here. He has seen and used probably every crossbow in the marketplace today. Certainly honored to have you out here. And it's neat to see where the sport's going, right? I mean, Illinois legalized the use of crossbows for the entire season this year. Missouri was last year. We see the trend going. And what's great is it's being driven by participation. Older hunters wanting to stay in the game. Women and kids want to get in the sport. Gun hunters want to spend more time in the field, right? That's driving the popularity of crossbows.
And it's all a good thing. To get more and more people involved is a big thing. The really cool thing is that, what I'm seeing anyway, is a lot of people who have not been lifelong hunters.
That's right.
That want to be able to hunt archery season, want to be able to see what hunting during the archery season is all about, and they're getting a chance to do it here.
Yeah.
You know, people are busy, people have a lot of things going on, and this crossbow allows people, and a lot of these new hunters, they don't want to go out with the weapon that they're not comfortable with.
That's right.
Because they don't want something bad to happen when they shoot. So we've got a lot of people out there that maybe don't want to see this thing expanded because they don't want more hunters, but I think the more and more people we can get involved and get involved in the sport, see what it's all about and enjoy it, is going to be better for everybody.
You know, Chris, I have 3 young girls, 15, 13, and 11. My 2 oldest, you know, have both killed their deer, right? Killed them with crossbows. My youngest, I'm taking at the end of the month. She's 11. She's going to hunt with a crossbow. Now, she has shot vertical bows, you know, since she's been 4, right? She's pulling maybe not quite 40 pounds, but I just don't feel that her first bow hunt should be anything but a great positive experience. And I want her to get infected with the whitetail bug, right?
For sure.
So she's going to take the sniper light and she's going to go out, and she's really, really good. You know, I mean, she can shoot probably 80 yards, but 40 is going to be our max. And, you know, I've already been out setting up the tree pods, getting things ready. But I know when she kills her first deer, doesn't matter how big it is, don't care, right? With that crossbow, you know, she's hooked for life. That's a memory she will carry for the rest of her life.
For sure. And to get those youngsters out and set them up with a weapon that you know is going to be lethal and you know it's going to get the penetration you need means a lot. And a guy that you've seen on the Crossbow Expert YouTube channel, Dan Ellison, his daughter just went out and shot a really nice black bear. And to go out there, she had the MXB 400. To go out there with a crossbow like that, that's going to have all the penetrating power, it just beats at this point in her life. She's 11 too, I believe, 11 or 12, going out there and trying to shoot a bear with a 40-pound vertical bow. It just doesn't make sense when you can set them up with a weapon which you're going to get a nice, good, clean kill. They're going to be very confident with it too, because confidence is everything.
Absolutely. Let me show you one little technique for shooting this last shot. Okay, so I'm going to slip over here on the bench. Okay, so obviously we'll go through this before you cock it. Okay, take your left hand and tuck it in to your shoulder there. Make sure both elbows are on that, and that way you can tuck your hand and support that rear part of the stock. Do you feel any more stability there? I mean, like I said,
this over so I can go there. Like that.
So now you're creating a tripod. Okay, elbows are on the table, you're locking it in, you have control. So let me go ahead and cock that crossbow for you. And that may take a little bit of that vertical movement that you've been experiencing. If we had a sandbag out here, that'd probably be best. But you also wanted to say, hey, what's practical?
Right, exactly.
Right? I want to shoot this in a practical situation. So if I'm hunting a bipod's practical, it also replicates shooting off shooting sticks.
And what you're seeing here too is, you know, the distance that I'm off at 100 yards, if we shot that at 60 yards, I mean, we're looking at an inch. You know, I mean,
and if there was 30 yards, it would be Robin Hood.
Right. So, I mean, go out and shoot a crossbow at 100 yards to see what it's like. This is hard, especially when you point this camera at me, Greg. This is all your fault.
You know, there's a lot of guys, but it's all my fault. There's a lot of guys with a rifle, though, that would, you know, be shooting groups like that as well. So, number 9. There you go.
All right.
Let's give that form just a, there you go. See, this time, see how your grips, you're all the way up on the top, so you have a little bit more reach on the trigger finger. You look solid there. She's level.
That does make a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference.
I mean, the last 2 shots when I shot, you're looking through the scope, and at 100 yards, it's hard to stay steady even with a bipod. I mean, you're seeing movement, and you're basically trying to stop breathing right when you feel like it's there. But when you do that, especially if you can get this elbow up on this platform, it really locks it down.
It does.
A huge difference.
Well, and again, there's little things you learn how to shoot. shooting form that help you in the field. There's a lot of long-range classes that you can attend. They're rifle classes right now, but shooting form is shooting form. At the end of the day, it's a scope, a trigger, and a buttstock.
Yep.
So let's walk down there and
take a look at it. But that's a cool tip for you guys.
Yeah.
We're looking to become more and more accurate with the crossbow.
well, think back, as we were talking, into the 70s and 80s, what we thought in any of this, whether it was vertical bows or crossbows or muzzle loaders, right? How far were we shooting? 50 yards, 80 yards with a muzzle loader, 30 yards with a vertical bow, 40 was like long.
Yep.
And as the technology of the equipment has increased, it's now taught people how to develop better skills in what they do. And that really comes with spending time practicing, right? Don't look at a crossbow as something you sight in and don't touch, right? And I think a lot of people perceive it as something, okay, I sighted in and now I don't have to go practice with it. I really encourage people to spend some time developing the skills. If you were to watch my girls shoot a gun today, you would absolutely be amazed at their skill. And people say, well, how did you teach your girls how to shoot a rifle so well? They all learned how to shoot a crossbow well. Trigger control, stock position, head position, right? You can teach your kids good fundamentals on shooting on a crossbow.
And one of the things that I talk about too quite a bit when we're talking about crossbow advocacy and getting more and more people involved with the crossbow, this is the greatest recruitment tool you'll ever find for getting more and more kids involved, because you don't have the loud bark, you don't have a kick. They can learn how to shoot without fear.
Yep.
And one of the things that, when you teach kids to shoot a rifle, you'll notice real quick that they don't like that kick and they don't like that bark. And this takes all of that away.
That's right. And they can learn good trigger control and follow through, and they can learn all of that shooting a crossbow. Plus, you can go pick your ammo up. So look at the difference, just a little bit of foremade. Now we have an 1.5 inch vertical group here. Look at the left to right. It's on the same line. There is no difference. And I think, I don't know if the viewers want to hang on. I almost feel like we have to shoot one more.
We can do it.
What do you think?
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. I feel like a new shooter now.
Yeah, well, it's all the little things.
You hang out with the pros, this is what happens. And this is something that, another thing that we talk about is just how much things have changed for everybody here on YouTube to just get that lesson.
Yeah.
Because if you guys weren't here watching us, I would have been the only person that learned that. But now, the thousands of people who watch us will all learn something from
absolutely.
that.
And that is the beauty of social media and YouTube, is people can share this. And I certainly encourage people out there to share their examples and their learning curve and what they do, because it also helps us learn, right?
Yep, for sure.
And also it helps the manufacturers to go engineer advances in their equipment, because they can get that feedback. And good companies out there, and there's several of them, obviously Mission and Matthews on the forefront, that listen to the people who use the product.
Yeah. So keep watching our YouTube channel and check out Gregg at HuntMasters. If you want to see some real hunting with a guy who's really been doing it for a long time. I don't want to date him.
Oh, I know it. I know
you. Doing this for a while.
Yeah, I have. This is my 18th year on TV.
18 years.
18 years. Yeah, hard to believe. And blessed to be doing every year. But my people ask me, oh, what are you most proud of? What is the greatest animal you ever killed, or greatest experience? And I'll tell you what I'm most proud of in my career right now. I started off pioneering the sport of muzzleloading, and now it's helping to pioneer the sport of crossbows. I think of how many people that I feel I help influence to get into the sport of hunting, extend their season, more time in the field, and that's the way I look at the crossbows. It's an alternative weapon. For sure. Right? Just like muzzleloaders were. And I think if people spend more time out there and they recruit their kids, our sport's going to be healthier. Without participation, we've got nothing.
Yep. And like we were saying before, this is really the greatest tool you'll find to get youth involved. And the other thing, and we've talked about it, and a lot of you guys know already, you know, I'd always say take an old guy hunting. And what this does is it allows, I mean, my dad for years and years could only hunt during gun season because he was in a construction business. He didn't have time to shoot a compound bow all the time. And this is something that he can work on the weekends and get proficient with it before the season and go out and shoot. And it's just given him time now where he's retired, where he can go and do stuff that without being able to hunt with this crossbow, he just wouldn't be able to do. And it's given him a lot of joy to be able to hunt with his grandson and
absolutely
do all these things that we wouldn't be able to do.
Hey, it's about making memories, man. So let's go make a new one right now.
No pressure on me this time.
No pressure.
All right.
There you go.
Gregg's tip here.
Yep.
Elbow up on the table.
Yep. Just take your time. Smooth.
Oh, I think that's going to be pretty good. That looks good.
Oh, if nothing else, we're having fun.
Exactly. This has been a lot of fun, hanging out with Gregg, and just, I've met him a couple times before, but you get a lot of time to chat with him. It's been fun. I've learned a lot from him. I hope he's learned a little bit from me. But it's been a good day today here at the mission headquarters.
It has. Well, it's nice to have you out here and appreciate your contribution to the sport and getting people into it. There's going to be a lot of great animals being killed with crossbows here in the upcoming 2 or 3 months of the season, right? We're really just getting kicked off. Middle of October, we talked earlier, you know, what is your strategy for finding those big bucks now? You can kill them. You can kill them right now if you're focusing on food and you're running your cameras. So I think if this rut turns out to be what everyone's predicting, you know, somewhere around November 6th in the Midwest is going to be the time to be sitting on your deer stand.
Anytime's a good
time.
And that's why we are shooting during archery season, just to be able to go out and enjoy this stuff.
Well, there's your 1-inch group right there. Right there.
Yep. So if you're looking for a super accurate crossbow, we just showed it, even with a slug like myself shooting, we can still shoot pretty good dots, but you put some work in with these crossbows. This crossbow has everything built into it to get you the accuracy that you're looking for.
Absolutely. So obviously a lot of great tutorials you guys have put together on crossbows in general. Any questions, anything, you know, contact us via the social media pages or log on to missioncrossbows.com, and there's even more information on this product and the complete Mission Crossbow line.
And don't forget to check us out at crossbowexpert.com.